here's how science, I think, is going to come to terms with the fact that there's something so much more than we've ever been led to believe, and it's through their attempts to clone life. We've all heard of Dolly, the sheep in the UK that was cloned, the first successful cloning. And for most people, the story stops there. What they don't know is that Dolly, the sheep, at first looked normal and at first looked like any other sheep. She actually conceived and had 6 offspring. But prematurely, her body began to break down, and she died at about 50% of the lifespan of her species. And they thought, well, maybe this is a one-off. Maybe it's a fluke. They've done a lot of experiments, other sheep, and now they're doing this bovine cows as well. Same thing is happening. Their bodies prematurely break down and they succumb to really strange diseases that are not typical, either for that species or for that age in the species. And they can't figure out why. And they're saying, okay, we took a cell, and now here's another identical cell. Why wouldn't they live the identical life? It's not the identical cell. And this is where I think science is going to have to come to terms with this. So at the risk of too much detail, let me just go into a little bit of detail about how a clone actually works. It's fascinating. Because what they'll do is they'll take the egg from one sheep, for example, and they will remove the DNA in the nucleus and put in the DNA of another sheep into that nucleus and allow it to grow. Here's what they don't tell you. Not all the DNA is in the nucleus. Some of the DNA is outside of the nucleus. And there is a communication that happens between the DNA, an energetic communication that is established. When the term is enucleation, when they take the DNA out of that nucleus, put in another form of DNA into that nucleus, they left the DNA outside of the nucleus. Now, those two realms of DNA are no longer in communication. They can't, and the role that the external nucleus is playing to that internal nucleus of information sharing as a template for longevity, that communication now is lost. So that is at least part of the reason why the premature breakdown is happening. This leads into a realm that the scientific community doesn't want to go there, is that there's more than a chemical conversation going on. It's an energetic conversation. And it's that energetic conversation that gives us our humanness, because our DNA is the antenna. It's a vibratory antenna in communication with a part of us that is ageless, that is timeless. It's the part of us that does all the things that we've been talking about, that allows us to have what some people consider God-like skills, God-like abilities, because they are the kinds of abilities that we've always attributed to our super people, Wonder Woman and Superman and things like that. These the ability to heal on demand, to create resilience on demand, to longevity enzymes, or what some people call anti-aging enzymes on demand. Over 1,300 positive biochemical reactions. We have the ability to self-regulate on demand in a way no other form of life can do. That's part of our divinity. We begin to lose that when we give our humanness away to the technology, to the AI, to the computer chips, chemicals in our blood, gene therapies to enhance immune response. We're just on this edge where we know enough how to implement it. We do not know and have not taken the responsibility to explore ultimately what the implications are. And we're going to have to come to terms with that as a society and as a civilization. And it's going to happen in this generation. It cannot last, another 5 generations. It's right now. This is up for us. And I'm very passionate about this because I believe that we're worth preserving. There is something, and we can get into this deeper, there's something so precious and sacred about our humanness that has never been given to any other form of life that we know of today. Now, there are many forms of life, I'm sure, throughout the cosmos, and maybe it happened somewhere else. But to the best of my knowledge, we're it, and we're all we've got. And if we lose ourselves, if we lose our humanness, we'll never get it back. And the cosmos will never know what it means for us to be fully human on this beautiful planet, this beautiful world we live in. And those that want to steal our humanness have a very different objective and very different ideas. And I think it's important for us to recognize that this is happening in our lives right now, not to be afraid of it by any means, but to be aware and to celebrate our humanness and be aware when policies or people are asking that we allow them to lead us in our lives, elected officials. What do they stand for? And look beyond the things that are being weaponized to divide us. We are being invited or compelled to give our humanness away. And I know it's happening, and I'm still impressed at how sexy the marketing is when I see the marketing and how they appeal to the young people with the images, the videos and things like that. Young people that have never been taught to respect themselves and their bodies and how precious they really are, who wouldn't go for it? Who wouldn't want a computer chip in the brain that allows you to do your gaming without a wire hooked up to your computer, man? Who doesn't want that? So I think our work is cut out for us. And it sounds complex, and for some people it sounds scary, but I think it's very simple. And what it is we make it a point to inform our young people of how special they are, how precious their lives are, to be very aware of what they put into their bodies and what they put onto their bodies, and to help them to understand that their uniqueness is cherished and wanted and needed in the world and can only happen through their natural abilities, not the uniformity of computer chips and AI. We are more than the machines that we have built, more than the AI, more than the computer chips. And so this is a decision now that we have to make as a society. Are we willing to give ourselves away to the efficiency and the speed of a computer chip at the expense of losing the power of human emotion, of losing our ability to have empathy and sympathy and compassion for another being? Are we willing to trade those things in for efficiency and speed? And that's a question we have to answer as a society.